today I am going to be doing my first story time. But first, let me just talk about this piece of art that I made. I started it a year ago, and then I finally finished it. It took me around 18 hours to actually get this done, and that is just wild for me to stay with it that long. The best way to watch this video is to either watch it as a speed draw or watch it as a story time, which means just listen to the audio. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. You guys voted and that was picked. So the passion topic lost on the polls, which is fine, but I will be doing one of those later, so keep your eyes peeled. And it took me quite a while to actually find out what I wanted to talk about. And then I was like, I'll just go with something easy, something I have years and years of experience of that is beyond art. The subject for today's story time is camp. It's either the one thing you look forward to all year or the most dreaded. The first year I attended, I thought it was the latter. Many of my friends at the time had gone to this Christian girls camp and loved it. So obviously I became interested in it. But by the time I got to go, those friends had moved away, so it was just me and my sister. It's actually quite an interesting camp. It's held several different camps, including a kids camp, a girls junior high, senior high, a boys junior high, a boys senior high, and so on. The segregation of genders was actually really nice. I think it helped a lot with the unending drama of trying to find a boyfriend, which is not something you should be having to deal with at a Christian camp. You're not going to learn anything because you're too focused on something else. This camp was cool in the way that it was free for anybody interested in it. Even people who had never heard the gospel attended. I believed I had just reached the age where I could attend junior high girls camp. It was a little overwhelming at first, if I'm being fully honest. It was also an extremely lonely experience. Me and my sister had a cabin with around 10 other girls and the usual 2 cabin leaders. But unfortunately, sometimes you get stuck in a cabin with personalities that don't mesh. All the girls were already friends with each other. That didn't stop me from enjoying chapel, however, which was my favorite time, and I learned quite a bit more about God than I would have in church. It was actually the next year that really spoke to me. The theme of the year was something I really needed. It was the year, if I remember correctly, we had fully moved away, lost all of our friends, and didn't have a church. On top of that, I'd recently fallen into sin and discovered porn. Hold up, sorry for the bombshell, but you know what? Girls find porn just as easily as guys do, which happens to be a passion topic of mine, which I could talk about later in a different video. Anyways, that year, the theme was about the harms of porn and sexual abuse. Boy, can I just say I felt a weight lift off. While it wasn't a secret to my family, it was a secret to everybody else around me. Shame is one of the top boundaries that separate you from your addiction and from freedom from that addiction. Suffice to say, I heard things that I really needed to hear that year. I began to learn all the issues I had been dealing with. Other girls my age were dealing with them too. I was not alone in this trial of mine. God really used that camp. And the next year after that, I even began to make friends. The cool part of this whole story is this is how I finally made a new best friend. There was this pastor's daughter who attended this camp religiously year after year. And she was one of those types of girls who basically knew everybody. Even though me and my sister had only seen her like a couple times, and I do remember her complimenting my shirt one time, which was really sweet. She had apparently gone home, talked to her mother about a pair of twins at this camp. And by the grace of God, her mother met my mother by chance in a Walmart. This is crazy. In a Walmart. And they got to talking somehow. They realized her daughter knew us. knew us. And they invited us to their church. We did not know this church existed. It was a little bit further away. And by that point, we had almost basically given up on finding a good church. This was exactly what I needed as a 13-year-old. At that time, who had no friends. God gave me a good friend. Luckily, we still have that relationship, although it is harder now just because of other circumstances. I love that girl. This meant that the next few years were easier. I had somebody I knew at the camp. I had a better all-around experience attending junior high for a couple more years and then senior high. And it got up until the point where I went to a leadership orientation week, which was a really good thing due to occurrences in my life, which are a whole nother topic. But I got to learn the importance of being a role model to younger people and older people. Believe it or not, you do have an effect on older people as a young adult or teenager. And it was especially this new best friend of mine who pushed me to be more for others, which was exceptionally tough as an introvert or slash ambivert, you know, whatever you want to call it, whatever the term is nowadays. Ow, my back. Ow, dang, that hurts. Anyways, what was I talking about? Camp, yes. Which, believe it or not, was hard for me. I did serve for 2 weeks and hopefully made a good impact on some of these girls' lives. It was an amazing experience and my first real taste of technically leadership. I didn't attend much more after this due to my college substitute program, wink wink, unbound, and because of starting a part-time job, which I was scared of taking time from. Anyways, while I have grown detached from this camp, it has had an extremely lasting impact on my life, from moments where I needed to know best that God still loved me, and to moments where I desperately needed a friend. God really put this in my life, and I'm so glad that He gave me the chance and grew me, strengthened me, and encouraged me through others. Suffice to say, I have a little bit extra time, so we'll see. Let's see if I can remember any funny short stories about camp, which I have like zero experience in how to do a story time, and obviously this is supposed to be a longer video. I remember one occurrence in my very first leadership orientation camp week, which is co-ed, but by that point you should be more mature, and most of the attendees were more mature in their spiritual life, so we did not have to worry about stupid things. Anyways, there was this one of the last days of that week. I was kind of worn out. I was sitting at the dining room table, and this is a big dining room, you know, there's like spread out chairs everywhere. I'm at the long table, just kind of staring off into the distance, you know, when you get into that state where you're just like, your eyes are open, but you're not actually looking, you're just in your head. You know, people say it's like some nervous regulating, you know, it's stress, you know, I don't know. There's like a term for it that people like to use. I was staring, enjoying myself rather, and then I suddenly focused my eyes on what I was staring at. It was one of the funny guys though. You know, there's always funny guys. And I just remember being like ineptly embarrassed because he noticed too. He was like, he didn't know what was going on. He thought I was stupid. Since I was also still a little bit awkward, I slunked under the table, and I just kind of needed a breath under the table. I don't know what to do. I mean, nobody really wants somebody they don't know staring at them with a blank expression on their face. That's just creepy. And I don't know if you're gonna find this funny or not, but it was really funny when I was there. So we have these little events called glow jams. It's where you get all dressed up in clothes that basically become neon in certain lights. I don't remember what. It's black light. This is one of my second or third years where I'm finally getting better cabins, better people, better girls. We're dancing. There's like dances they have, you know, church clap and the chainsaw song or the wobble, whatever you want to call it. We're dancing, we're singing, we're having a great, good old time. And one of my cabin mates breaks down laughing, and when she laughs, she falls to the floor. They had some decor up for Glow Jam that was in particularly kind of hot. Like, it would burn you hot. Just like a neon sign that had laying up against the wall in the chapel room where you do Glow Jam at. And she's laying up against the neon hot sign. She doesn't know she's on the neon hot sign. And I am dying laughing. I can't breathe. I'm pulling her off of it. Everybody else is laughing, and we're all just struggling to move her, but we can't explain why, and she doesn't know why. It's just like this big whole ordeal. And then once we finally stop laughing and she's off of the sign, we explain it to her, and she didn't understand why we couldn't just tell her. And it's like, I'm sorry, I couldn't say anything, I just can't speak. That was kind of funny at the time. Guys, if you have children, or if you are of that age, go find yourself a good Christian camp. You will learn stuff about life. and about yourself. You'll learn about a lot about yourself, and you'll have the chance to make good friends who uplift you and help you change for the better, which is what life should be about. Be like me, don't give up just because there aren't any potential friends just yet, and see how God uses any circumstance in your life. Hope you enjoyed this short little story time, and have an amazing day. Bye bye.